Hi guys, you're in the right place if you want to learn how to paint cookies with food gels. Today I want to do a design on this little teacup. I've got my brushes, 2 pots of clean water, my Wilton White, my Wilton food gels, a design in mind, and I'm all ready to go. So I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to replicate this, but I did want you to see what is actually possible when you mix the Wilton White with the food gels. So I really like the opaque nature of the paints, and that's what I've been working with lately. So what I wanted to do today, so we can admire this one in case I totally screw up here, but what I wanted to do is I like the one of the designs where it's along the rim of the teacup and down into the body. So that's what I wanted to do today. So I've got my clean rag that I use to just kind of clean off my brushes, and I'm going to try using this filbert today. So I just want to pick up a little bit of, it's the Wilton White mixed with the burgundy to give a very pale, kind of very pale pink tone on the brush. And I just want to start by doing some petals on, I want to do a rose pointed this way in burgundy, and then a rose pointed this way in yellow with some green foliage, green leaves, and a couple of rose buds. That's how it looks in my brain. So I'm using a pale color to act as the highlighted shade for the petals. That are going to be on the outside of the rose, and the main ball of the rose is going to be pointed this way. So I'm just trying to think about what petals I would see on the outside of the rose. And then for the ball, these petals will be curving in toward the center. These petals are going to curve in. And then on this side, we're going to be just seeing the tops of the petals on the other side of the ball. Let's just leave it like that for now. And then I always do a double rinse with my brushes because the white, the Wilton White, really does seem to stick to the bristles, so I like to get it nice and clean. And then I want to pick up a little bit of the golden yellow. I'm doing the same thing. I'm mixing the Wilton White in with the golden yellow food gel to get this very pale yellow, to do some of these tones, softer tones. Now I want to have this rose pointed this way, so I just want to do some of the petals that would be on the outside, the back of this rose, and then maybe coming out. See a bit more on this side. Just thinking about how it would work on the outer edge. And then the body of this rose is going to be curving this way, pointed down, and then we're going to be seeing the tops of some of the petals on this side. So let's just leave this like this right now. And let those dry before we go back and add some of the shading to really define those two blossoms. So while that's drying, I'm doing a double clean on my brush, drying it off, and I'm wanting to pick up, I'm still using my Filbert 4, and just picking up a little bit of the pale green that's also mixed with the Wilton White, because what I want to do now is just think about where I want some of the leaves around these blossoms to go. So see, I've just got a pale green wash on this brush, and I just want to think about maybe some of the leaves that are going to be around these roses. Just want to fill them in a little bit. We'll add stems and the buds later, and then have some foliage down. And I think I should be able to use the side of the filbert and just sort of make a couple of stems and but just by using the side of the brush to make some thin lines, and then the body of the brush to make the larger leaf shapes. I don't want to fill in everything, obviously, just yet. But I think this is kind of good enough for now. So I want to clean off this filbert. So the first dish, my little pot of water that I clean the brush in first, it gets really murky really quickly with all the Wilton White, which is why you always need to have two little pots of water. Now, I think what I want to do now is maybe use a different brush to go back and pick up a little bit more of the darker shade of the burgundy. And if because I want to start adding the shading so that it actually looks like it's got some character to it. But I don't want to go too dark right away, because that'll be a bit too shocking, I think. So this is still the Wilton White. It's blended with the burgundy. But now I want to think about where the shading is going to be. And the shading is going to be at the bottom. That's not really dark enough. I'm going to pick up a bit more of the gel. So if you just think that you're going to have, this is the main ball of petals that are all pointed toward the center, where the rose hasn't quite fully opened up. The center is going to be very dark. We don't want to completely paint over the pale that we've done, because that's the highlighted part where the light is catching the petals. You know what? I want to turn this light off because the glare, I can't see what the heck I'm doing. I hope that's okay for you guys. It's way better for me. So I just want to leave that like that for now, and then switch over to doing the darker shadow parts for the yellow. Oh, not enough contrast. Just pick up a little bit more. It's better, but still not as dark as I want to go. Even that's not as dark as I want to go. But I just want to get some of these markings down where we have the shadow of these petals. So we're just going to concentrate on going back and forth and working on adding some depth to these. This is more like it. This is going to be very dark in the middle. Some of these petals are going to be quite a bit darker, where the actual ball of the rose is casting a shadow as it leans forward. doesn't have to be a ton of detail, but just enough to sort of give an idea of what's going on. And then we can do the same with the yellow one. This doesn't have much contrast at all. And actually, I might, you know what I think I'm going to do is start with some of the brown, mixing the yellow with the brown. There, that's better. Just to really give some depth. Are you panicking because it looks so crappy? Okay, I think I just want to leave that like that for now. Double rinse with this brush. Put it back. And then I want to see if, because I know my filbert should be dry, but this, I don't know if this is, this is too fat. I want a narrower brush. It's going to be a little bit stiff. This is too wimpy. Let's see if I could get my filbert to work. I just want to start blending out some of this shading. So these petals, which are going to be underneath the main body of the rose, these are going to be in shadow. So that's why I've got that. And then the ball of the rose coming forward is going to be dark at the base, and then the light will be catching the top of it. All this will be dark with maybe just a few tips. And then this petal back here is dark where it meets the ball of the rose, but the light is catching its outer edges along here and here. Just sort of blend this out a little bit. See how the paint can actually take it, right? Can actually move it around a little bit. Now I'm just cleaning off the filbert, and I'm going to dry it really, really well on my rag before I start messing around with the yellow blossom. Because for this one, we've got to pull our shading in, and then we've got to have more shading this, just to pull this out a little bit, to find these outer petals, give them a bit more character. This one's looking all muddy. I'll have to do some lines to clean this one up. And some highlights. Let's bring the curve in. This shadow should come out. This shadow should come out. This shadow should come down and out a little bit. So see how this one looks okay and this one looks like crap. Now, I think I want to go back to just figuring out where I'm going to put the little buds. Maybe add a few stems for that. Can put one in here. And maybe a bit over here. Just using the edge of the filbert to try to do a thin line. And a couple leaves, nothing too. Okay, and then we'll double clean the brush and just pick up some of the burgundy. And we could just sort of give it an impression, maybe of a bud here. We'll do the same with the yellow. I was wanting some darker tone on the yellow to sort of give the impression of a bud. That's good enough. Okay. So what I want to do now is work with one of my, I want to start adding a couple of details to the leaves. Just want those to start looking a little bit better. And basically, that's going to be about picking up, you know, if there's some darker shades, anything that's going to give sort of some contrast. And the leaves that are underneath the blossoms, of course, are going to be darker. you know, mixing the Wilton White in with the gel does make the gels quite dry. So it's kind of like an advantage, the way it sort of like sets on the cookie. This looks like it should be another bud instead of just leaving it like that, looking like a leaf. I'm going to turn this into a burgundy one. Let's have this. Some highlight to it. And since I've got the white, I could just add some highlights to Southern. Now let's see. I'm going to start by just getting rid of some of this shadow that's too close to, so that there's a better definition between the ball of the flower. And this is going to be highlighted as it curves up. These petals here are going to catch the light, so they're going to be a little bit lighter at the edges. I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and I think what I can do is just still use this. This one, oops, there's a little fiber from my. The brushes don't last forever, so when they start shedding their little guts, you know, there might be time to do something about it. But it doesn't have to be, you know, you don't want to have it too packed and busy, but to fill it in a little bit more. Okay. I think I'm going to try to do a bit more blending around here. And we can always use a couple of lines if we need to. I know I told you last time that I bought these droppers, which are great. So I do have a little container of clear water that I just use for picking up clean water to go into some of my palette if I need to. I can just add a little bit of fill. It doesn't have to be a lot, but when it's a different shade, it's kind of like give it a little bit of background. Not to detract from the leaves, but just make it look like it's got a couple grasses in with it. Okay, so, oh, look, this could use just a little bit of darkness on this side of the So have we done okay with our tones, our contrasts? Different textures. See how long the color lasts on the brush? Now, let's see if I wreck it by what I want to do is I hope this brush is going to be sharp enough. But I would like to try I know I told you before that outlining is a tricky business. It can either make things better or it can totally bugger it up. But since I wasn't that keen on this rose anyway, let's do a little bit of outlining. Just sort of like define the petals a little bit more. But one thing's for sure, if you were just using the straight food gel, you wouldn't be able to do all your messing around like this. However it goes down, that's the way it stays. I don't know. I think that's okay. So, I don't know if the balance is all right. I think it looks not too bad. So these are the two little teacups. So there you go. Thanks for your company, and I'll see you next time.